Honey, when I tell you, Dr. Umar done spoke a word. Dr. Umar is calling him out. I've been waiting on my brother, Dr. Umar, to put belt to you know what. He is putting boots on the ground and he has a message. His message was long, so I wasn't able to get everything in this video, but I do have some parts. So I say let's react to some of the parts that I have that I've been seeing going around social media. And you guys, let's react to them. Are you guys ready? All right, so I'm going to bring this clip up here. So I would love for you guys to continue to react as well in the comments. I will be reading some comments, so make sure you comment. All right, so have you guys been waiting on Dr. Umar to speak? I know I have. I'm like, where is he at? Where's he at when we need him, right? All right, but here he is. He got something to say.
It is too quiet. We don't know anything. Sister Christine don't know anything after 30 days, and Ben Crump and Al Sharpton need to go to the streets. Since you like...
Woo! You heard that? Do y'all think we need to go to the streets? Press 1 if y'all want to see black people marching in Mississippi, honey. Wouldn't it be a sight to see? All black people marching in Mississippi and Ocean Springs. Wouldn't that be a sight to see? Honey, let's do it. All right. Do y'all want to march? Would you march? Do y'all want to see that? Press 1 if you want to see black people marching in Mississippi. Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
To march every year in Washington, D.C., Al Sharpton, why don't you bring your behind to Mississippi and march?
Ooh.
We need to march in Senatobia. We need to march in Cleveland, Mississippi. We need to march in Jackson for Sister Tasia Fortune. And we need to march in Ocean Springs for Brother Nolan Wells. And check this out, Art. The Attorney General said they're going to keep the toxicology and the autopsy report under seal. They're going to keep the toxicology and the autopsy under seal, Art, until the grand jury gets to see it. A grand jury is going to decide whether or not anybody's going to get charged with a crime, Art. And I have a big problem with that, Art. That's what happened with Carmelo Anthony.
Yes.
That's what happened with Carmelo Anthony.
Yes.
A grand jury proceeding is a relatively secret process, Art. You don't even know who's on the grand jury, Art. You don't even know who's a group of secret white people. A group of secret white people.
Ooh, it's a pattern. Dr. Umar is right. They set it up with Carmelo Anthony. Remember that? They had a secret meeting and it was so much corruption on both sides with the judges to throw the book at him. They're going to do the same play here. I mean, the people at the higher ups, the FBI, the president, they don't have any ethics. They don't have any integrity. All they are doing is preserving whiteness. That's all they care about. So they're going to do whatever they can to bring America back again, to make Mississippi back again. You damn right. I agree with him. And I want to know, do you guys agree with Dr. Umar so far? You don't trust that all the autopsy and, all that being secretive to the grand jury? Yeah, a bunch of secretive white folks
are going to decide if any of those 30 white kids on those 3 boats should be charged with a crime in the death of Nolan Wells. And we won't even know who they are, and we won't even know how they came to their decision, Art. We won't even know who the grand jury is, and we won't even know how the grand jury came to their decision. What is Ben Crump ready to do? What is Al Sharpton ready to do if the grand jury returns no indictments on anybody at all for the death of Nolan Wells? Will Benjamin Crump be ready to march then, Art? Will Al Sharpton be ready to march in Mississippi then? If the grand jury says this was an accidental drowning, case is closed, no indictments, what is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton going to do? Because right now, and I respect them both, Art, but right now, the way this case is being handled, they are too docile, they are too meek, they are too humble, and they are too soft. We need some street action. We need some street protests. We need some street marches. We need to raise up the temperature in Mississippi, Art. That's what we need to do. I appreciate Katie for letting.
Ooh, what do y'all think about that? Press 5 if y'all agree with him. We need to raise up the temperature, baby. Make it hot, hot, spicy hot, extra spicy hot. And I think we need more young black men speaking up. Now, it's funny that you got young black men, K. Sanat, I. Speedy, DDG. They have influence over the whole nation. But when it comes to real issues, when it comes to real power, when it comes to real politics, where are these young black streamers? They don't have none, okay? But they have they got the whole world in their hands. So honey, I tell you what, we definitely need some young people. I appreciate Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, but we need to see more young hitters. All right, with them YNs, get off the streets and into politics.
World, no. Nolan told me, get out of this situation. You're not going to use me as a decoy, but I still appreciate Katie speaking up for Nolan, Art, because she didn't have to do it. Although she's trying to protect herself and stay out of the investigation, I appreciate Katie for letting the world know Nolan told me I got to head back to the boat because my friends are getting ready to leave. Now, according to Katie, Art, she spoke to Nolan sometime between 3 and 4:30. Now, her window appears to be wider than everybody else's window. So Javon's window is much smaller. He said, I saw him at 3:40, went to deal with another situation. By the time I came back, they were gone. Katie said I spoke with him between 3 and 4:30. And I allege, Art, one of the reasons that Katie is making her window so wide is she trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, allegedly. I think Katie trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, Art. Now, according to our sister Christine, and my heart goes out to Sister Christine, Nolan's mother. My heart deeply, deeply goes out to you, Queen. According to Christine, Art, she heard from a coach who ran into Nolan on the island as well. And according to the coach, he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30. So Javon didn't see him after 3:40. The coach spoke to him sometime between 2:30 and 3:30. And Katie said her conversation with Nolan was between 3 and 4:30. So you know what that means, Art? We can pretty much conclude that Nolan was likely to have been unalived, Art, sometime within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. I'm going to insinuate that Nolan's life was taken because I do not believe he accidentally drowned.
I agree with this black man. Do y'all agree with this black man? Press 2 if you agree with this black man. He talking facts. They unalived him at the Horn Island on July the 4th. Yes, they did. And you heard the audio call. Oh my God, is he dead? He was dead on that boat. They did that to him. Now, it was 3 or 4 different boats they had. I don't know if they switched him and put his body on another boat, but they took that body away from Horn Island with them, y'all. They took the body and they came back to return the body. That's what I believe. That's what I know to be true. I need y'all to comment. We need to have a conversation about this. Come on now. We got to back this black man up, y'all.
If he drowned, he was forcibly drowned. And we'll get to that in a minute. If Nolan drowned, he was forcibly drowned. He did not accidentally drown. He was a great swimmer. Miss me with the nonsense.
Thank you.
That boy did not drown. If he drowned, it was by force. So again, Art, all 3 of these people, arguably the last 3 to see him alive, except for those who took his life, Katie, the coach, and Javon, are arguably the last 3 people to see Nolan alive, except for those who took his life.
Dr. Umar Happy to have you back, man. What you been up to, yo? It's been a while, yo, since I had you on the platform.
Yes, just taking care of business. To the white racists on YouTube, we're going to run with it, and everybody in between. It hurts my heart for Sister Christine, Nolan's mother, to have to see so many people using her son's name in crisis and tragedy for clickbait. And that's one of the biggest reasons I kind of stood back. It almost reminded me of the Freddie Gray police unaliving in Baltimore back during the Barack Obama era. When Freddie Gray lost his life to those police in Baltimore, everybody rushed to Baltimore. They did the same thing with Michael Brown in Ferguson, not because they necessarily cared about the tragedy, but because they wanted to benefit personally from it. And so I stayed away from Ferguson. I stayed away from Baltimore. And I stayed away from the Nolan Wells situation for a while because I didn't want to look like so many other people who just jumped in to have something to say, to use that young man's loss of life for clickbait and views. Now that it's been over a month since he lost his life, I think it's okay for me to speak now because everyone else has kind of given their opinion, their analysis, their synopsis, and their feeling on the situation. So I'm going to give mine. First of all, Nolan Wells, Javon, and I want Javon to hear this, and I want any other black person who was on Devil Horns Island that day to hear this.
That's what I called it, right? Devil Horn Island, Satan Horn Island. Yes, that's what it is. Call it what it is.
And I want any black person who was celebrating the 4th of July to hear this.
Come on now.
No black person, no black freedman, no black immigrant, no member of the black race at all should have been celebrating July 4th, 2026.
Yes.
No one should have been celebrating America's 250th solar return. And why? Because our ancestors were still enslaved on July 4th, 1776.
Yes.
So why are we on White Devil Horns Island anyway, celebrating George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Alexander?
I tell you why, because they brainwashed us. I didn't celebrate July the 4th, but they have brainwashed us. They have forced us to celebrate July the 4th. That's what they do. They brainwash us. That's what it is.
Hamilton and all these other white supremacists and slave masters. Why are we even celebrating them anyway? Nolan shouldn't have been out there. Javon shouldn't have been out there. No black person should have been celebrating the 4th of July, period. We would be enslaved for almost another century after America got her independence. So what are we celebrating for? To celebrate the 4th of July as an African is to celebrate the enslavement of your ancestors and the freedom of your slave masters. It makes no sense.
That's
now,
right.
With that being said, I'm not blaming Nolan in any way, shape, form, or fashion for his loss of life. I'm just simply saying he shouldn't have been out there. Now let's take a closer look at this, Art. According to what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, and what I've read, Nolan, Warren, Wyatt, and Trayston left for Horn Island the morning of July 4th. According to Warren's own words that he offered during an interview with Officer B.T. That's Coon as in C-U-N-E, Coon as in K-H-E-W-N, Coon as in K-U-H-N, Coon as in C-O-N-N. So Warren did a sit down with Officer B.T. And as we all know, BT is white YouTube's pet monkey. He's white YouTube's pet monkey. So Warren sat down for an interview with white YouTube's pet monkey. And he said that they left for Horns Island the morning of July the 4th, and that it was approximately 30 of them spread across 3 boats. Approximately 30 youth spread across 3 boats. They all went to Horn Island together. They arrived at approximately 11:30. So they left around 9-ish, 8, 9-ish, whatever the case may be. They left the morning of July 4th. They arrived on White Devil's Horn Island at about 11:30. So 3 boats, 30 youth, they went together. I'm not clear on whether the 3 boats came back together or not. That's another question that I have, Art. Did they come back together the same way they left together? Because I'm treating all 30 of those white youth and all 3 of those ships as crime scenes and as suspects. All 3 ships are potential crime scenes. All 3 boats are potential crime scenes, and all 30 youth are potential suspects. I don't know why Jackson County Sheriff Ledbetter or Jackson County District Attorney Mulrath, I don't know why they decided to separate the boat that Nolan was on, Warren's boat. I don't know why they separated that boat from the other 2 for purposes of investigation and analysis, because those 3 boats operated as a team. And since they went out there as a team, and it hasn't been made clear to me whether or not they came back together as a team, all 30 white youth and all 3 boats should have been part of this investigation, not just the 1 boat. That is my first big issue with this case. Who decided to separate the other 2 boats and the other 20 or so youth? I got a problem with that, Art, because according to the Cajun Navy, they have no GPS information on the other 2 boats, Art. They have no GPS.
Whoa! Did y'all hear that? No GPS on other boats. And you know all of them were like a gang. It was all a gang, all 30 of them. And you, come on now, something is off with this. This is a whole big cover up. And you guys know they got Trump lawyer. If you so innocent, what you need a big shot lawyer for? You see what I'm saying? Then you heard the white boys did a TMZ article talking about they was breaking down crying at the beach. We ain't seen no one tear. They are playing in our face. They are mocking us because we said during the interview with Warren, we ain't see him cry. So they're going to go, oh yeah, he cried. They are mocking us, baby. Okay? That's all it is. These are liars, and this is all a stage to them. And they see this as all one big entertainment. They love it. Trust me.
Information on the other 2 boats. Now let's get into this. According to Warren and Nolan's other so-called white friends, they decided to leave the island around 4:30. So they were roughly on White Devil's Horn Island from 11:30 to 4:30. That is about 5 hours. Now, one question that has to be asked, Art, why did y'all leave so soon? Because they party on Horn Island all day long. Y'all didn't leave at sunset. Y'all didn't leave at sundown. Y'all left after only being there 5 hours. That's a little suspicious, Art.
Yes,
and I haven't heard anybody ask any of them, why did y'all decide to leave after only being there for 5 hours? Did y'all plan to only be on White Devil's Horn Island for 5 hours? Why did y'all leave at that time? But we'll deal with that later. So then let's listen to Javon, Nolan's other best friend. Now, another problem I got with this whole story, Art, is Nolan allegedly had too many best friends. I'm trying to find out, how does Nolan have so many best friends? And why did all of these so-called best friends leave their best friend on White Devil's Horn Island without his cell phone and keys? I'm trying to figure this out. So Javon claims he's Nolan's best friend. Warren claims he's Nolan's best friend. And Trayston allegedly claims that he's Warren's best friend. So did Warren have 3 best friends? Excuse me. Did Nolan have 3 best friends? Did Nolan have 13 best friends? Did Nolan have 30 best friends?
Nolan ain't had no best friends. They all lying. They are all lying. When you have a best friend, you gonna stick with your best friend when you go to an event, a club, a skate party. You and your best friend is like thick and thieves. Even if they talking to a girl, you gonna be right there with your best friend. Okay? Ain't none of these people were his best friends.
Because if Javon is the best friend of Nolan, and if Warren is the best friend of Nolan, and if Tristan is the best friend of Nolan, exactly how many best friends did Nolan have? Are y'all making this up? Who did Nolan tell Warren was his best friend?
They making it up because Nolan, if you have a best friend, you gonna go there with your best friend. Nolan went with Wyatt boat. Warren was on a different boat, and I'm assuming Javon and Tristan, they was on a different boat as well. They was not on the same boat with Wyatt and Nolan. So come on, stop me with the bullshit. You gonna hang out with your best friend the whole day. None of my best friends, I believe all of them involved, possibly. I think it's all involved, to be honest. I don't trust none of them.
Who did Nolan ever tell Tristan was his best friend? I'm not going to question Javon, because he's a brother. And I do believe that there's a strong chance that they may have been best friends. And I say that not only because Javon is a brother, Art, but I also felt that Javon, through the investigation team and alley-oop, with some of the answers that he gave on TMZ. Some of Javon's answers, in my opinion, kind of made it clear to me he actually cared about Nolan. He actually cared.
I don't know. I disagree with that. When I saw Javon, he was digging in his hair. He was looking around like somebody was coaching him in the back. They just said that he just got a new car, so people feel like he's paid off. I don't trust Javon. I don't trust Tristan. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust none of them. I don't. I do. Ocean Springs? Hell no. And then that black dude that went on Don Lemon? Hell no. I don't trust no black person to come from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. They are not to be trusted, honey. I don't trust it.
About Nolan. I believe Javon actually cared about Nolan. And because of that, I'm willing to say that Javon may have actually been Nolan's best friend. I wish somebody would have asked Javon, Art, to your knowledge, has Nolan ever called Warren his best friend? Has Nolan ever called Tristan his best friend? To your knowledge, Javon, has Nolan ever told you that Warren and Tristan were best friends of his? Because Art...
Ain't no way this motherfucker was best friends. If you the best friend, this how I go. I tell you, everybody Nolan had issues with. Everybody that had issues with Nolan. I'd be like, listen, Wyatt, at times he could not stand Nolan. You know, they used to get into it. Everybody know every friend group. Everybody is not buddy all the time. Have we heard from any of the friends that, such and such got into it with such and such at times? They had a fight one day, or they was beefing at sometimes. Did y'all hear any of that? Press 4 if y'all did not hear any of that. Because all their stories were coached, all their stories was fake, all the interviews was to make sure ain't nobody get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you my close friends, the people they have issues with or in the past that they still friends with to this day. I can give you some scoop. Okay? So nah, I don't trust none of them. I think they all are compromised. All of them.
I'm having a problem with this three best friend narrative. Okay? I used to be 18 years old. You might have one best friend. You may have two. Don't get me wrong. If you all hang in a pack, you could have 3 best friends. But according to Javon's own words, Art, he didn't really hang around with them other guys too much. That's what I allegedly thought I heard him say. He didn't hang around with them guys too much. So if you got 2 or 3 or 4 best friends, you guys normally travel as a group. Javon seemed like he kind of spent most of his time with Nolan alone. just the two of them, not with Tristan and Warren. Although he knew them, it didn't appear that he hung out with them on the regular. So how could they all then be best friends? It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's unlikely. So, according to Javon Art, he saw Nolan at 3:40 on the island. According to Javon, what I heard him say to T.
All right, y'all. We're going to stop it right there. If you want me to bring part 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and more of Dr. Umar, if y'all want us to continue Dr. Umar rant, press 7, and tomorrow we will do more reactions from Dr. Umar. I didn't want to make it too long because I didn't know how y'all would feel about this. But if you guys want me to continue this, press 7, all right? And, when I tell you Dr. Umar, what I've learned from this, we may have to start marching in Mississippi, Ocean Springs, Mississippi. It's going to be a sight to see. This is going to make the history books. Your great grandkids is going to read about this in the history books. That's what it's given, honey, okay? That's what it's given. Because you already know how this is going to go.